Hey guys, and welcome back to Stuff Steve Likes. And I'm just kind of knocking a bunch of videos out today because I got the day off and it's a beautiful day outside. So welcome back to the channel. Please do like and subscribe. I do watches, I do knives, I do music gear, all sorts of fun stuff. Anyway, but today I just want to talk about something that I've seen a few videos on, and I just decided to do one of my own. And it's basically on knife blade steel. Okay, and I've got quite a few different knives here from different brands, and just wanted to talk about some different steels here. And so many people talk about blade steel and how it's one of the most important decisions they make, that has them choosing a knife one over the other and so forth. And I kind of want to go through some of these and tell you what I like about the different types of blade steels. Because honestly, I'm a person that doesn't really choose a knife based on the steel. I choose a knife based on the handle, the design, overall fit and finish, and so forth. So just wanted to go through these and tell you why I actually like all of these steels, because these are all well-respected brands here and so forth. So I know that I don't have any quote-unquote like cheap junk knives here, but some people will say, well, I would always choose this one over this one because this one has this certain steel and all that, and I just kind of want to debunk some of that. Basically, steel technology has come so far that we don't have to worry about that as much anymore. Some people will say, well, that is a Chinese-made knife with the 13 MOV, 8CR 13 MOV, or whatever type of blade steel they have, and that's junk and trash and all this stuff. And I'm like, man, does the knife work? Can you cut open your package with it? Can you slice an apple with it? Yeah, we're good. I mean, we're not out in the field, gutting rhinoceroses or anything like that. Well, that would be illegal anyway, but, it's just, some people think that their knife has to be able to, cut other steels like a hot knife through butter, and it's just not that important. There's so many more important things in a knife than the blade steel. And so I just wanted to go through these, just what kind of steels they are and why I like these steels. I guess I'll go right to left here. This is most of these knives I've done videos on, so you can see those on the channel. This is my ProTech Godson, and just a really killer knife. I got this last December, kind of as a Christmas. I used some of my Christmas money to buy this. But this has 154 cm. And I also have a mini Griptilian that I don't have on the table here that has the 154 cm. And the thing I love about 154 cm is its balance. It's got a great balance of edge retention and resharpenability. Is that a word? I don't know. I just coined it. But this ProTech really is a great knife, and the 154 cm has been incredible. I've had this for, I guess, 7 months, almost 8 months now, and I think I've actually resharpened it one time, and I've carried this a bunch. All I've done is stropped it, and man, it just has such a great edge on it. 154 cm, I love the balance of that, and I just think that it strops really well, and just has a really nice edge on it. And same thing with my Griptilian. Now each company has a different heat treat that they do, so you do kind of have to watch that. I will say sometimes with the little bit cheaper steels, I'm going to get to this buck here in a minute, and why I think that the steel on that is superior to most other people's steel of similar name. Yeah, so 154 cm, great heat treat on this one, as good or better than the mini Griptilian I have. That's a great one too, but same steel, different heat treat, but both excellent, and they strop really easily. All right, this is my Ooh, dirty blade on this one. I'm going to leave the blade in there. I was cutting some kind of messy stuff the other day with this and didn't clean it. This is my Benchmade bug out. This has S30V steel. My other one here with S30V is the Spyderco Paramilitary 2. Please have a clean blade. Yes, thank you. Okay, I'll leave the blade out on this one. Little pocket lint there, but so S30V is a great steel, and it's a very hard steel. This was developed by Chris Reeve of Chris Reeve Knives, and it was very, very hard, very corrosion resistant, and people say that it's kind of the, you know, S30V is kind of the new 440C. You know, when 440C came out, it was the super steel that was to dethrone all super steels. When S30V came out, Get Away Fly, when S30V came out, it was the same deal. And of course, they've come out with other stuff now. They have the S35VN and you know, M390 and all these steels that are you know, basically worthy of Thor's hammer, basically, where you know, you can't dull it no matter what, which is not true. But there are definitely some great new steels that have come out. S110V, and you know, there's all sorts of them out there. But S30V is excellent. Keeps a great edge for a long time. It keeps an edge even longer than the 154CM because it is a powder metallurgy type of steel where it's a little bit more even grained, but sharpens up really well, doesn't strop as easily as this, and I think that's just because it's a little harder, but keeps an amazing edge. I like to take these knives camping, the S30V as far as my pocket knife, because they do keep an edge and I don't have to worry about bringing a sharpener. I just think that they keep an amazing edge on them, and it's a great steel, and it's very common out there now. And even on some you know, sub $75 knives, I've seen S30V, and that's a great deal. Buck is using S30V now on some of theirs with that, I think it's the Boss or Bose heat treat, which is really cool. And some of those are extremely value priced. I don't know if there's any below $50, but between, you know, $50 and $75, I think there's a few of theirs that carry that as well. So so great steel, and is starting to end up on some budget knives. I've seen some knives on Drop. I guess it used to be called Mass Drop, now it's called Drop, that are really competitively priced using S30V. So anyway, great stuff. Really good steel. This is a little case knife. This is my son Levi's favorite knife because it has camouflage, and he loves army stuff and military stuff. And this is Case's, they call it Super Sharp. And anytime you have a case that says this has this SS, it's Super Sharp, and it's basically their version of stainless steel. And the great thing about this is its sharpenability. There, I'm using that word again. It's so easy to sharpen, and especially a knife like this. I mean, you're not doing heavy duty cutting. You're cutting maybe some paracord. You're whittling with it. It works great for here because I can use it for, you know, a weekend of camping, and it's still fine. You know, there's nothing wrong with it. It's probably not hair popping sharp by the end of it, but works great. It's a $15 knife, and for $15, this has some amazing sharpness. And that's the thing with this, is I can get a crazy edge on that. You know, I can get that razor edge on that knife, and then I strop it about 5 times per side, and it's good to go. Another steel that's like that, that's so easy to resharpen, is this. This, I didn't have it on the table, but this Victorinox. And we all know Victorinox, and we all love Victorinox, and we all know that it's not some super steel, but this the steel on these is so easy to strop. You just, you know, maybe 5 times per side, and it's back to a razor edge. So so this steel and this Case Super Sharp are very similar. I'm going to leave this one here. This is the Fieldmaster. I did a video on it. I love this knife. That was my Father's Day present, and it's awesome. Great functions on that one. Anyway, so that's the Case Super Sharp. This is another case, but this is the carbon steel, the chrome vanadium, and you can see that here. It says CV. That's the chrome vanadium, and so this is their carbon steel, and this will get a patina. This is the one I use the most. and it does have a little patina on this one. But this carbon steel gets a frightening edge on it, absolutely frightening edge, and again, doesn't retain the edge forever, but is a really easy one to strop. So if you have to field sharpen, this one's great. Just take your belt, just take your belt on the back side of it and strop it a couple times, and it's back to a razor edge. But you do kind of have to oil this unless you wanted to get that patina on it, which I don't mind the patina, so I don't really oil it. But if you want to keep it looking brand new, you do want to make sure you oil that. So something to think about there. This one here, this is my Spyderco UK pen knife, and this uses CTS BD1. This is just like this one here. This is made in USA, and this BD1 steel is a good EDC steel. It is a little soft, but this profile is super thin. You can see that blade is very, very thin. One of my favorite EDC knives, because it's not a locking blade. So I pull it out, I cut open the box, and then I just pop it closed, just like that. But again, really easy to strop, just like this, just like this, just like this. Very easy to strop, and it's super rust resistant, like very, very rust resistant, which is nice too. So that's BD1. And this one here, this is my Tops Milspy 3.5, and this knife is bad to the bone. I absolutely adore this knife. This thing, like if I was going out in the wilderness and could only bring one folder, and I didn't know what I was going to be facing, this would be the one. If I did know and I was going to be doing mostly camp tasks, I'd take this one. But if I didn't know, I'd take this one, because this baby is just tough as nails. But this steel is N690. So this is, I believe it's like a European steel, and they used it on this one for some reason. They usually use 1095 carbon steel, but this folder they decided to use the N690, and keeps a great edge, a really nice edge on this one. And you can see the original grinds are still on it. I've only done a micro bevel on it at a 20 per side. I've done a micro bevel, and it'll pop hairs. It's really sharp, keeps a great edge, and I have not abused this one. I can't get myself to do it. It's so nice. But N690, very good steel, and I've heard that this one is very rust resistant too. They do put the that powder coat on it, so I haven't really tested it, but you can see the edge is is super clean, but very rust resistant according to all of the tests. And forgive my dog barking. Chewy, stop it. Sorry, he gets riled up when the neighbors are in the backyard. Okay, and the last one I'm going to go over today is this. This is my Buck Mesa. I've done a review on this one too, and this is a really beautiful knife. This is, look at that micarta the micarta handle scales. It's, wow. Look at the handle shape. I mean, this thing is just, I adore this knife. I got this for like, I think 40 bucks or 45 bucks at Walmart. They stopped making it, actually. It's discontinued, and I wish they wouldn't have, because this is a great gift knife. I would have actually bought this for my dad if I would have gotten a hold of one, but anyway, he got a folding saw instead. But this is a great outdoor knife, and this is Buck's 420HC. And remember, I was talking about different companies have different heat treats. Buck's heat treat on the 420HC is the best, and I've used a lot of 420HC, and man, this stuff just gets a crazy edge, resharpens easily, strops easily, and is just a great all-purpose steel blend, and has enough edge retention for most tasks, and is inexpensive too. And I see a lot of guys out there with the these fixed blades from Bradley, and I'm trying to think of all the different high-end makers, but they have these fixed blades and they're incredible. But man, you know, $400 or $500, I just think that for most people that's a little bit overkill. Where the Buck excels is value for money, and I think the 420HC that Buck makes is more than sufficient for, you know, 80-90% of people. There are people that bushcraft and all that, and you might want to have a carbon steel blade and so forth, but as far as rust resistance and just toughness, I think the 420HC by Buck is excellent. One other honorable mention, and I used to have a knife with this and I really adored that steel, was VG10. I had a Delica and an Endura by Spyderco. I did end up selling those because I only wanted to carry these two, and I just couldn't justify still having those when I wasn't carrying them. Anyway, both great knives though, and those had VG10, and VG10 is a Japanese steel, and it's excellent. It has one of the finest edges that I've found. The edge retention I don't think is as good as this. The edge retention is more similar to like a 154 CM, but the edge I could get was very, very fine and just razor sharp. So that's a great steel as well. And there's so many others. I can't speak to all of them. But these are the ones that I've really enjoyed, and even though we have some quote-unquote cheap steel, you know, like here and here and here, you know, these are all useful knives. You know, back in the day when people's farm tools and swords and knives and everything was their way of life, they never asked, oh, what kind of steel is it made out of? All they asked was, is this going to get the job done? And I think all the blade steels on this table and most of the blade steels on the market anymore are going to get the job done. Now, if you're a collector and you want a paramilitary 2 in every handle scale color and every blade steel, that's great. But as far as usefulness goes, this standard version is more than enough. If you have a kid who's just learning how to handle knives and going camping and wants to whittle a little bit, you know, something like this is perfect, or a Swiss Army knife is perfect. That's more than sufficient. And you know, teaching knife safety, honestly, you don't want the sharpest knife in the whole world. You know, you want it to be sharp. You know, a sharp knife is a safe knife, but at the same time, do you want some humongous super steel in their hands if they have a glancing blow or something like that on their stick? You know, anything like that. So you got to think about all that stuff too. And then budget is really important too. It's like, you know, some of these knives, like this one here, this one, and this one. These ones here, you know, all these knives are over $100, and a couple of them well over $100. You really have to think to yourself, am I going to get that much use out of it? Now, if you're a collector or something like that, for sure, but in a situation where it's just a daily user, there's no need to have an expensive knife like that. And of course, you know, over $100 knife is nothing compared to some people that carry these Sebenzas and Striders and, you know, customs and so forth. But to a lot of people, you know, $30, that's about as expensive as they can go. And in a situation like that, like this or that, steel is just fine for their use. So don't write off a knife just based on its steel. I've gone over the steels on these knives. I do have a few more knives that I didn't bring out, but there's just not enough space. There's not enough space here. But you know, these are ones that I've had good luck with, and I think would serve most people just fine. And I hope that this helped you out. Again, this is Stuff Steve Likes. Please do like and subscribe. Check out my previous videos. I've done reviews on most of these knives in the viewfinder here. And yeah, we'll see you on the next one. Thanks.